Hello, hello, hello. So, in this live stream, we will learn about the basics of our programming. If you have joined us, you can also ask us questions in the chat box and please like the stream. Okay, this is mainly for the beginners. If you are an advanced R programmer, I think it's not going to be very interesting for you. But you're always welcome to join the stream. But if you are new to R programming or new to data science, analytics, or you're exploring, learning about it, I think you will find it very useful. So, what are we going to learn? Well, we're going to learn the basics of R programming. We will also build some basic models. We'll learn about how to analyze data using R programming. Well, that's what R is used for. It's very popular programming language. Until 2010, it was not that popular. It was known only among the academicians. But now, with the increasing popularity of data science, machine learning has gained popularity. So, it's very good skills to have on your resume, regardless of your profession. You could be from any profession, but knowing some R programming actually helps a lot. There is a lot of competition between R and Python and also other programming languages such as MATLAB and Julia. Well, I will not go into the details of uh, like which programming or which data analytics software is the best. It all depends on, well, first of all, it depends on your test. But yes, R is very, very popular among data scientists, academic researcher, quantitative professionals in banks and financial institutions. So there are so many people who are using R programming for a lot of things. Okay, and you can also learn other, data related programming such as Python, Julia. There is, right. You can always learn more than one programming language. Okay, so a bit about the story. So, well, R was developed in a university in New Zealand. There were some statisticians who were working on some statistical analysis, and that's when they developed a new programming languages. Um, I think it was inspired from a language called S, and then it got a name called R. For a long time, it was only used by statisticians, but later on by other social scientists, such as economists, such as sociologists, but also in people from other academic fields such as engineering, science, and so on. Now it's being used heavily in the industry, like in all kinds of industry. In the data science teams, you can find R being used. So it's very popular. Okay. It's a simple programming language. It's quite easy to understand, easy to write. Um, Unlike programming languages such as Java or C, C++, where you have to write a function in order to add two numbers, but that's not the case in R. Quite interpretable. So it's something much easier to learn, write, and also interpret. And you can use it for a lot of uses, not just for data analysis, but also for, say, for front end development and for all kinds of other things also. A lot of feature, obviously it's known for data analysis. That's the main reason why people learn R and people use R, but it can very well be used for other purposes as well. You can see the R window, right? Right, that's what I've opened. So the first thing, if you want to learn data R programming, is to go to Google and search R, and the first website that you will find in Google is r-project.org. So go there, uh, then from there you can download basically R. Okay, so you can download R from there. Go to rcran, right? Depending on whether you're using Mac or Windows, it has different different softwares, and so you can directly download from there. But beside downloading the R software, you will also have to, you know, download a lot of packages actually. But you don't have to download all the packages right at the beginning. You can download only when you need them. It automatically comes with a lot of useful packages, but there are a lot of packages, special packages, where you need to install separately if you want to do some specific analysis for that. And I'm going to show you how to, install packages. It's very easy actually. So this is the R console. If I just minimize it, you will have this one. Right, this is the basic version of R, by the way. You can also use something called R Studio. That's actually more popular these days. It gives a better interface. Okay, the R Studio. So here the console is, as you can see, you write something, it will automatically show here everything. But in R Studio, you have a separate window for error checking, for output, and so on. So it's a bit more fancier. But since it's a basic lesson, I'm going to use this R, the R console, not the R Studio one. But we will see that in another session. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm using R version 4.0.2, but even the older versions are quite okay. I mean, there are not much changes in the last few years in R. You may want to know more about the copyright licensing and all. Like for individual users, there's no issue. You can always use them, use the software for your own purpose. It's free of cost. The problem happens when you are working for a company and using R there. I think there you have to check with your with a company whether you have the license to use R for commercial purpose. I think there you have to check the commercial aspects of it. Otherwise, you can always use R. It's free of cost for individual user. There's absolutely no worries. You can always use the software for you free of cost. For certain users, you have to give credit. That's important, but you can know more about it. But for practice, I think you don't have to do anything. If you go to the tab here, you can use these tabs to import file. So if you do not want to write commands to import files, if you don't want to import Excel sheet using writing commands, but just using some tabs, you want to do that also you can, but it's less popular actually. You can change the size. For example, sometimes, right, if you see this window, it's the size of the font is very very small. So what you do is that you go to view, okay, all right, just a moment, sorry, edit. Go to edit and you have GUI, graphic user interface options, and then you have the size here, right? The size is 16 here, so I've just increased, but if you want to increase more also, you can increase further, right? You can change the background, like the background color as well, you can change, right? You can customize your own interface, right, based on your test, what you like. Just play around with it. You will know. The best way to learn a programming language is to start programming. So don't spend too much time actually learning the theory. Actually, it's very good to actually start using, write some commands, see the output yourself, and play around with it, right? That's the best way to learn a programming language. And it's very important that you spend a lot of time actually writing computer programs. There's like tons of resources out there on web. Just do a Google search. You have plenty of blogs out there where you can learn a lot of things about R programming. But also there are a lot of good YouTube videos about R programming. You can go through this. Obviously, this live stream, I'm going to continue this live stream for a while. So we will learn a lot of things about R. but also about analytics, machine learning, or data science and statistic stuff and research and all kinds of stuff, apart from just learning basic syntax. Okay, so there are a lot of things go to be there. So yeah, you can join me live stream. I'm thinking of continuing this live stream every day, at least for 1 hour. I hope that that's possible. And if you have questions, you can always email me. I'm going to cover those questions in my live stream, but also you can directly ask the questions um, in the chat section, right? So that's also very easy to sort of ask questions to someone. I'm going to answer it right away, right here, right now. So that's a good thing. If you know people that were interested to learn R programming and they are new to data science or analytics, or they are thinking of learning data science or R programming, please inform them about it. Inform about this channel. They can subscribe to channel so that they will get the notification when I go live, or else you can simply give the email ID so that I'll send you the email in advance when I'm planning to go live and teach things live. Okay. To bit about me, I've got about overall 10 years of experience in IT, in data analytics. I've worked for number of banks, number of multinational companies, product companies, as well as service companies. I've been teaching data analytics for last 6 years now. So I think I know a bit or two about data analytics and in R programming in particular. So we will learn. So a lot of things we have talked about the basics, but let's get started with some programming. So I have install R. You can also install directly from CRAN, right? Just do a Google search. You can easily find where to download R. Now this is on Windows, so I'm using Windows, but you can also use any other operating system. So okay, this is how it looks like. But if you want to get rid of this licensing all text, just press Ctrl L, it will go away. Okay. Let's see the very simple thing. You want to add two numbers like 2 plus 5. Just add 2 plus 5. Okay, why am I not able to plus 2 plus 5, it's 7, right? It's very easy. But if you want to do this like adding two numbers in C or C++, then you have to write a module for that, right? It's not that easy, right? You can also multiply like this, so easy to do these operations like 2 into 10, 20, something like that. So it's easy. So you write it like whatever expression you want to write, just write and then press enter. You will get the outcome of that expression. Okay, so a lot of things to learn. These are the basic things. How do we comment it, right? Because when you write, I think the most important thing is to comment, right? How do we comment? Just use has. Has is used actually for commenting. So that one thing to keep in mind. So what I want to start with, I was thinking of starting with like variables. How do we assign variables? So what are variables, right? Variables are nothing but the mathematical variables where we store some values. For example, I want to store a value of 10 to x. X is my variable, and there I want to assign a value of 10. So what I do is that x equal to or 10 is assigned to x. It's not x equal to 10. It's not equal to operator. It's about assignment operator where x is assigned to 10. And then when you press x, you get a value of 10. Right. Similarly, I want to assign like y equal to 20. Okay. So then x plus y is equal to should be 30. Right. So in x I have a value of 10. In y I have a value of 20. When you add them together, you get a value of 30. Right? That's how it's as simple as that. You can give any name, like the variable name to be. You can give any name, but there are some rules actually. You cannot use some like there's some rules for the syntax. Okay. For example, you can have a value like x2. x2 is equal to 25. That's a fair name, so you can use a variable name as x2, but combine, right? I mean you can also use like underscore and all, like x2 is fine, or x underscore 2 is also fine, that is also fine. So these are fine, I mean these are fine. Basically there's nothing which you, I mean it's not a problem, but you cannot have a variable name like this, x percentage or x ampersand. It's a problem, right? X percentage is equal to 2. So that's wrong, because x percentage is not a variable name, it's a wrong variable name, so you can't use that kind of a name. Okay, you cannot also use a variable name like, you know, underscore x equal to 10, let's say. We'll get an error message. Okay, so every time you got an error message, it will be shown like this: error, then colon, and expect. That means something is wrong, your syntax is wrong, so you need to correct your syntax. Okay, so what is the syntax? Basically the grammar rules, right, for programming. So these are not the correct way of assigning numbers to a variable. So these are wrong variable names, invalid variable names. So be careful about that. Okay, so you can yeah, you can also use, so there are different ways to assign values to operators. Okay, I'll just clean up the, maybe for example x, I can also assign something like this: x is equal to 10. Okay, that's also possible. I can also assign using using equal to sign, x is equal to 10. Okay, both are fine, both the syntax are fine. You know, in all both cases you will have 10 in the variable x. Okay, great. So this is called leftward operator. So this one is called leftward operator, and this is the equal to sign, and both are correct way of assigning to a variable. You want to assign a number to a variable, that both are correct. Then you can also assign you can also create a vector, right? You know, it need not be just one single scalar, a scalar value, but also a vector. So how do you do that? So how do you assign x as a vector? So this is how it is. You use something called C, then let's say I want to have 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, now you will, in x you will have all these values. Now x is not a scalar anymore, x is a vector, it has multiple values. Okay, so what if you want to add a scalar to a vector? So x plus 2. Okay, what do you expect? So I expect that 2 will be added to each element of this vector. Okay, in vector we have 1 2 3 4 5, and you add 2 to it. That's what you see, right? So x initially we had 1 2 3 4 5. Now we have x plus 2 is equal to 3 4 5 6 7. That means 2 is added to each element. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, 3 plus 2 is 5, and so on. So that's as simple as that. Now let's create another vector which will have, okay, values like 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, that's why. But we can add two vectors as well, right? So x plus y. So basically what we see here is that 1 is added to 5, which is then gives us a value of 6. 2 is added to 6 8, 3 plus 7 10, 4 plus 8 12, 5 plus 9 14, right? So you get these values then, x plus y. But imagine a situation where we just have 5 elements in x and 4 elements in y. Can you add these two vectors? I don't think so you can add, but let's try. I'm sure you will get an error, and that's exactly what you get. It's a warning message. Well, it actually gives you some values, but actually you cannot, right? You know, if you know matrix algebra, you cannot add two matrices where the values are, the dimensions are different. that is not proper, right? You should have proper, equal dimension. So you cannot, that you get a warning message. Okay, what are we going to see next? How do you print values? Well, actually, when you run the command, right, it automatically prints, so you don't have to, like, for example, y. Okay, it's y, right? So you don't have to print anything, so but you can also use the print command. Okay. How about using print y? It gives the same value, right? It doesn't make much of a difference. You don't have to, but you have to use print only when you want to print a string. That means say you want to print a name. Okay, print hello. So you want to print hello, just print hello. Rather hello world, right? All the times we use this called hello world. So that's as simple as that. Question is, can you have also elements in a vector which are strings, not or characters? Like they may not be numbers, integers. Okay, yes, why not? For example, a, b, c, d. Okay, so now in x you have a, b, c, d. That means all these are characters, and now you see in x you have these characters, but obviously you cannot do operation. That means if your vector has characters as the elements, you cannot add a number to that, but you can rearrange, you can do a lot of other operations, but not this addition, subtraction, multiplication, all those things you cannot do. Okay, how do you remove a variable from this console? Okay, how do you remove a variable? Just use the command rm. Okay, so here is the x, right? I'm just removing x, so this rm x. Now it's removed. If I put x, there's no object called x. That means it's removed from the console. Now you might be wondering, we are writing a lot of script, but where do we save it actually? Actually what you should do, you should start with you should go to file and create a new script. Okay, so this is again a new window. So ideally what you should do is that you should write a command here. For example, okay, let's x equal to 2, y equal to 5, x plus y, and then just select and control R. Control R is the shortcut to run the command. You can also go there and run, but control R is the way to run. Okay, so just select and press control R. Oh, it's not run. Okay, let me run all of these cases. Okay, now you get a value of 7. So the good thing is that when you have a different window to write, you can then write properly. All the code is now saved, and then you can simply save it somewhere, right? It's there in different files, so you can save it. Just control S, so that will ask you for your where you want to save, and you can use that any of your location to save the script. You can open that script later on also. So that's the way to save your R script. Okay, great. So that's, but I'm not going to use this for this lecture. Well, for next lecture maybe we can use a separate window file. Okay, I'm not going to save this either. What else shall we learn? Few more operators maybe. What about division? Well, we saw about subtraction. Well, subtraction is possible, right? Let's x equal to 3, y equal to 2. Well, very simple things we'll take. So x minus y, just x minus y, right? It's as like how we write in pen and paper, so that it's that simple. And for division, what do you do for division? uh, can we use this, right? Yes, we can use, right? That's possible. You can also get the modulus of something. How do you get the modulus of something? Simple, just use 2% that you get. You can also use logical operator. You'll get true or false, something like that, like x equal to y. It's logical operator, right? That means you want to know whether x is equal to 9. Just use 2 equal to sign. It's false because x is not equal to y, right? X is 3, y is 2, so x is greater than y, so obviously they're not equal, so the answer is false. What about x is greater than y? If you do that, then it's true because x is 3, it's greater than 2, so it's true. These are logical operators. And yeah, so these are the operators. There are also many more operators. You can just do a Google search and learn a bit more. Okay. We'll learn a bit more about the operators, arithmetic operators, relational operator, logical assignment operator, all these things. Bit more. I think I've covered most of the things, but maybe a few things are left to be covered, and I'm going to share with you. What is that? Even power, right? Power is an operator. So how do we say x to the power y? So you just use this inverted thing. Where can I find the inverted thing in my laptop? That's interesting because I'm unable to find, but I'm sure you can find that yourself. Can I use this one? Yeah, so just use 2 stars, that's like to the power basically. Okay, so we can also use x to the power y, to the power y, and that's also 9. So you can use logical operators. We have learned about logical operators, right? Yeah, I think these are the important ones. Yeah, the another thing you can also create a vector in a somewhat new way. So let's learn about that. For example, you can create x equal to 1 to 8. That means x will have number 1 to 8. So x, you see, 1 colon 8. That means everything between 1 to 8 will be in x vector. And see here, x has value from 1 to 8 with all the integers in between. Okay, a little bit more about other things. Maybe we learn a bit about other programming features such as conditional statements, looping, and things like that. Or maybe we learn a bit about other basic syntax first. I think this is not, maybe the loop and conditional statements are something we will learn next time, but a bit more about basic syntax, because this is for beginners. I want to cover every single thing that a beginner should know. R is very interesting language, I've just said, right? It's very interesting because it's very simple, but sometimes it's very, very painful, especially with respect to the syntax. So having some familiarity with the syntax is very important. That's why I suggest that you spend quite a lot of time in just writing code. Only then you will be familiar with the syntax, otherwise you will have trouble time. Yeah, so you can also create list, by the way. So a bit about the data structure of the R programming language. You can also create list. So list can have even other, like multiple types of data types. Let's say we create a list of X. So we use the function list, and let's say we create 1 2 3, and then we also have some strings like characters, or B, or C. Right now X will have both. Unfortunately, you can't do operations. You can't use addition, multiplication, all these things here, but you can certainly do a lot of other things also, like rearranging numbers, or just placing numbers, or just keeping them in one. So that possible. You can also create a matrix, actually, because sometimes if you want to have 2 by 3 matrix, it's one, always like 1 to n, right? But you can also have n colon m type of matrix. Okay, that's possible. Okay, how do we do that? So how do we create a matrix? So we'll create a matrix like this. We'll call it some like matrix A. Okay, what am I doing? Matrix A is equal to matrix. So we'll just use matrix function. Okay, so I'll just have 1 2 3 4 5 6, and what I want is basically, okay, so just make sure that you use this C. So this is a vector, and we want to split this vector into n row equal to 2, and there are 6 numbers, right? So we want a 2 by 3 matrix. So n columns, I want 3 columns here. Okay, so now if I run this, I will get, okay, sorry, it's a capital there, right? Okay, so that's one thing to remember here, is that if this is case sensitive, R is a case sensitive program. So if the name is capital A, you cannot use or cannot refer to a small a or lowercase. So it's case sensitive, so be aware of that. So A matrix is then 1 2 3 4 5 6 with 2 rows and 3 columns, right? And you can change this as per your wish, but this is how you define a matrix. You can also arrays and all of that, but what's important for us is matrix and vector factors. And then also data frames. Data frames are very, very important, where you can have multiple types of data types, but yeah, we will see this. Okay, for example, we want to know details of something, details of students. Okay, so we will say students, and we will use data frame, data dot frame, wherein we will have names equal to, say, Ram and Sam. So we have the names, put a comma, then you can have their gender, both are male, so just say male, comma, sorry, this is wrong. What am I doing? Yeah, sorry about that. So let's say maybe continue in the same line. Yeah, that's the problem when you directly write your code in this console. You can also write in a separate file and run it from there. It's more convenient, but okay, I'll just have names and their age. Okay, so I'll have age equal to, let's say, someone is 23, the other guy is 22. Okay, and then I complete this and then it should be fine. Let's run this. Now in students we have name and age. Okay, so we have Ram and Sam and with their respective age. So this is basically data frame, but you don't actually create data frame for data analysis. It gets created when you import file. What file? Text file, flat file, or Excel file. It gets created automatically, and probably sometimes you have to create yourself. All right. Oh, we learned a lot of things actually. For a beginner, I think this is a good start where we know the basic syntax, we know the basics of things. We haven't yet used any package and so on. We haven't delved into more programming stuff such as conditional statements, looping, writing functions or procedures, all those things, more complicated stuff. But I think this is a very good start for beginner who really want to get started with just playing around with numbers. And for beginners, I always recommend that you should do practice on addition, subtraction, things that you do with your calculator. Okay, that gives you good comfort. You start writing functions, you probably will get confused with the syntax and all. So that's for little. Once you have some command over this basics, you can then start writing more sophisticated programs, or start learning other more sophisticated concepts. I will take you through the more advanced concepts such as looping, functions, and procedures. All these things in the next class. So today I like to stop here. If you have any questions for me, if you want to learn something specific, do let me know. I know people who have some experience, they really want to learn about analytics, right? More about how to build models in R, how to build regression models and all kinds of stuff. For this lecture I am not going to cover everything, but next time, because I'm going to continue this every day, like for 1 hour every day, just let me know in the chat box or in the comment section what else you want to know, want to learn. I'm going to cover in the subsequent session. So for today, thank you all who joined me. There are not many people who joined me, but thank you all, and see you tomorrow again. Thanks.